It's Friday. It's Real Talk. It's another episode. We're at number 9, but I think for Mike and I, we're like about number 15 or 16 because we're like a road show now. We're doing a whole series for the Oakville Milton board throughout the summer. We've got our Real Talk sessions coming, so we're going to keep bringing these. And we're on YouTube now, so subscribe, hit the link, all that cool stuff. Once they edit, stuff pops up now and stuff like that. It's lots of fun. I'm really enjoying myself. Like I said, Mike and I have done about 15 or 16 of these in the last 12 weeks through COVID. We took a little bit of a different spin on it today, where we brought my good friend Nursh, who's also a top agent in the GTA, and we're going to talk a little bit about his experience using the iGUIDE tools. Nursh is a guy that pre-COVID wasn't the biggest fan of iGUIDE, and now he's one of the biggest fans of iGUIDE. So I thought, how fitting to bring a guy on that can talk about the experience. And as far as real estate goes, you know, he's in the top couple of percent of earners, and we're talking about a space. I posted an article online the other day that talked about there's all this crap out there right now about, you know, do you need a real estate agent and all this and that, and you all know how I feel. I'm all about sales professionals, and you get what you pay for. So it's all about creating value. And I think the big win here is Nursh found that we have this product that offers this tremendous value. So without further ado, I'll get us started. So again, welcome to Real Talk number 9. My good friend, Michael Vervana. I butcher his guys. Like I'm such a bad Italian that I put extra letters in his name every day. So I apologize. I was looking at
That was right. That was good.
So it's bad. Anyway, Mike is the vice president of Planetar, which is the company that manufactures iGUIDE, and I'm very happy to say that they're locally owned and operated right here at Guelph. So it's great to be invested in and partnered in a company that's global right here in our backyard. And Nursh Arul is a good friend of mine, both business and professionally. Nursh is a Titan award-winning RE/MAX real estate. I got to give you props, man. 5 years in the game, and he hit Titan. For anybody that doesn't know what that means, it's a good thing, and you should aspire to do that. And I think he's going to get there again just because he's using iGUIDE now. But we're going to kind of talk a little bit about that. So I don't really have a deck or anything to go through today because we're going to do this more like, you know, TSN style. Like we're going to just talk and ask Nursh some questions. So I will kind of go sort of back and forth. We're going to have some conversation. Mike's going to jump in, probably show some samples of kind of what Nursh talks about. And I'm also going to allow these two fine gentlemen to have some conversation because I'm really interested to get the perspective of, you know, a top agent and a, you know, a top manufacturer of 3D tech. You know, we all know there's other ones out there. And again, I say it every time, the reason we chose iGUIDE was because it's local to Canada. Number 2, because it's a much more technical product than some of its competitors. And I'm a marketer, I'm a seller, I'm a closer, so I want to make sure we're giving facts and information. You know, things can look sexy, but if they're not real or accurate, you know, then what it's worth. And the measurements with the floor plans, that was the big kicker for us. Way before 3D tours were a thing, we were all about the floor plans. Mike will tell you stats that say that after photos, the next thing buyers and sellers want to see is floor plans. So the 3D tour and now this virtual showing capabilities that we have, yeah, we've exploded in the industry, like, you know, Planetar and sure us as well. But I think that's just, you know, great value add and bonus. But the core, you know, reason we got into it, you know, still remains true today, which is why we continue to add iGUIDE cameras to our arsenal. So today, through realtors and Look Inside, my partner, Mike Farrick, who's on the call, we have, I think, 11 or 12 bodies on the road now throughout the GTHA. And I'm pretty confident that we're the largest provider of 3D space capture in the province. And when guys like Nursh are changing the way they do business to include us in their packages, it tells me that we're going the right way because, you know, again, you're not winning Titan if you don't know your shit. So I hope that was a good intro, Nursh. Like I can see you blushing a little bit, but I gotta take care of you, man. Okay, so.
Thank you.
My absolute pleasure. So Nursh, we just, you know, we did the kind of introduction. So again, we discussed a little bit about what is iGUIDE, you know, detailed floor plans, HDR photography, Google Analytics, seamless 360. You can share your tour across multiple platforms. It's ready quick. That says 24 hours, but 36 sometimes. What's missing from this deck, because we have to update it. So I know, Lucas, you're listening. Let's add a feature in here because this is the main slide. we have this amazing new virtual showing tool that we talked about last week. We're not going to really talk much about that today, but that is important more than ever. So again, just in a nutshell, what is iGUIDE? So to kind of get right into it, you know, we can sit here and say, this is interesting because I think I might know Nurse's answer to this, but virtual tours increase online bookings by an average of 85%. So Nurse got a platinum without using the iGUIDE. So Nurse, how were you marketing your listings pre-COVID, pre-iGUIDE?
You know, like, okay, being 100% honest, I love my video. Video is like, you know, I built a relationship with video, and Mike Teleska, who's your boy, my boy, he made me shine in video. And it's how I marketed all my listings because I want them to get a good idea of the property, you know, with leaving a little bit out so that, you know, they'll come into the property or they'll call me and because they want to know more. You know, are we talking iGUIDE now? Or are we talking COVID? Or so
No,
pre-COVID, it was photos, video. So you're getting a virtual tour, and it was a great video pre-COVID.
So a virtual tour in the traditional sense, a YouTube slideshow, or in this case, it was a video.
Yeah,
so,
no slideshows. I don't do slideshows. I do real videos.
You do a real video. And I want to just kind of say, like, I know that we're good, which is awesome. Thanks for the compliment. But you were doing video before us. Maybe Mike, through our systems, made you a little bit better on camera. And if we helped you in that Titan Award, that's awesome. Sidebar, Nurse needs a rate increase. But I'm kidding. But I think you might have made yourself shine because of how comfortable you are in front of it. So bottom line, it was for you, it was video.
Yeah.
And then the photography. And we're not talking just to digress for 1 second. Nurse is a proper sort of sales professional. So we're only specifically talking to marketing the listing today. We're not asking Nurse, you know, how he does his listing appointments or anything like that. So obviously there's a lot more than just, you know, some listing content. It's what Nurse does with that content before, after, and during the sale, how he interacts with his customers, all that. We've done some great sales sort of sessions, and we're going to have some more, but just to kind of focus and not to lose sight of that, and not to not give Nurse credit where credit's due. But I just wanted to, specifically keep it to with the iGUIDE. So, okay. So video and photo was your thing. There was no change. I know we talked about it a few times and you were like, John, you guys are great, but, and then you got, you know, I'm having this conversation with Michael all the time because we're trying to say, how can we, you know, how do we embrace because we were a video photo provider via our other properties before we kind of, you know, when we got that first iGUIDE camera, that's when we said, okay, now we can look a little closer at this, you know, this niche. Okay, so that's cool. So then, you know, okay, so yeah, so there's the money question right there, Nurse. What made you want to use the iGUIDE? Like, let's tell everybody what they want to know.
Well, good old COVID happened, and everything changed on the way we do business. And I literally had a client that I met them probably the first week of shutdown, like March 16th or whatever, and they needed to sell. They were out in Ajax. And I said, okay, well, we need to get as much bodies in here as possible, or as much views online, so that the bodies coming in here are qualified, because we need to limit exposure of this virus to my clients who are still living in the home, and potential clients coming in. So at that point, I looked at it and I said, okay, you know, we need a 3D tour. And obviously, it was something that John had proposed to me quite a few times before, and I was like, I don't need it, John. I don't need it. And then it was
listen, you didn't, like, I'll give it to you. You didn't, the way you were doing things was working. So I'm going to give you that.
I have to have it at that point, because realistically, I need people to walk through and know exactly what they're walking into. With, like, our videos are great, but, you know, let's say my video on Instagram or virtual too, it's 2 minutes.
Yeah.
You can't spend the time on that video to see a corner of the room, a measurement of you know, the living room, the kitchen. You can't focus in on that through the video, and you can't stop the video.
Yeah, you can't stop, right? Yeah, yeah, like you said, you can get the video makes you want to go there.
Right. And that's why the video is part of the marketing side.
Right.
And I still believe that's how you need to market. But
that's the sizzle.
People needed to spend time because they were spending so much time at home. They needed to really qualify the homes that they were looking at this year prior to walking in or calling their agent, say, okay, we actually need to book an appointment. We'll follow all the COVID protocols, but we need to touch and feel this product so that because it's a big purchase for them. So for them to be able to spend half an hour, 2 hours at home walking through every inch of the house was important for everyone's safety. And so at that point, I said, I have to put this into my thing. It's not a matter of cost anymore because it's about people's safety and it's about qualifying the people coming into the property and giving them the most, every tool possible for them to look at and view and feel the property prior to calling their agent to book an appointment.
Mm-hmm. So interesting. And Mike, and we talked about this before, and I was sitting in an office maybe about 2 years ago, and I think like with this whole concept of virtual house hunting. So what I think I just heard was, the one of the main things was, of course, being able to be immersed in the space and all that. And Mike's going to show us actually some of your listings in a minute. After the next question I have for you guys. But I think what you said was, and we talk a lot on our webinars every week about the savings of time. So now with your clients, they still, and I posted an article the other day about some people that bought a house without even walking into it. And I'm going to say that that's going to be far and few between. Now, what I think you just proved was you're not taking your client to see 10 houses anymore. You're showing them 10 of these tours, let's say, and you're taking them to the one that they really need to go touch and feel.
Assuming the agent's done one of these tours.
And maybe the agent hasn't been losing potential buyers because a lot of people aren't going if they haven't seen it first.
Right. And as an industry, I think we need to bring the level of what we provide to our clients up so that you're saving time yourself, because you going out to show 7 houses versus you going out to show 2 houses, it's all day long. It makes more sense. But if the clients don't have the tools, potential buyers don't have the proper tools because you're still shooting with your phone or you're just doing a little slideshow, you're going to waste your own time at that point.
As soon as you know about, and those, like, with all due respect to those people, all good people, like we all can operate the way we want to operate. We're all entitled to do that. But somebody said it to me the other day, they don't like the value of time. And I was just like, start there and then let's worry about everything else, because you're right. And nominal, it doesn't matter what provider, you're talking about $300. And you're getting photos, you're getting floor plans, you're getting virtual tour. And again, I don't care who you're using. It's just the point, like Nurse said. It's just the industry has to adapt. We're doing, all of a sudden we're doing daycares every day. It's the same thing, right? And Mike, you guys are continuing to Nurse's point. You guys just keep pounding out tools for these guys, like the virtual tour feature that we just launched.
Well, it's building, and absolutely. And it's building, as you guys have both touched on, if it's a daycare or if it's a home buyer or if it's a seller, it's building confidence for them to really understand that space and if it's right for them. Is it right for their family, and being able to pre-qualify themselves before they're going into the home. That's that responsibility Nurse is doing for his clients, so that you don't have a bunch of lucky loos or just tire kickers that want to kind of just see their neighbor's home. You have people who are really engaged and want to really, I guess that's the smell test I always say in Toronto, because, is that basement musky or smelly, like the things you can't get from, the visuals, but be able to walk through that home. And it's building that confidence and making that whole process easier and smoother, that whole transaction process. You think about anything that we buy online or anything that we go and purchase, transactions quite smooth. And in this industry, in the real estate industry, it's still a very cumbersome process. And these are the tools and the processes that, Nurse is, is bringing to his clients to make that whole transaction a lot smoother. That's fantastic. The feedback. How has been the feedback from some of the buyers that you?
I was just going to say that. Yeah, like, are people scared? Like, so like nobody, like, So are a lot of your new listings, so you've been, I know the last month you've been busy. Are these customers saying, hey, we don't want 100 people in our house every Saturday?
Well, I actually lead with that and say, listen, I do the floor plan, the 3D virtual tour, the video, professional photos. I do it all so that
That's
the
the
people.
complete listing solution for anybody that's interested.
Yeah. So I basically tell them this is the complete listing solution because I'm worried about the people coming in your home and I want to limit the people coming in your home. You know, and everyone obviously will wear masks and gloves and all of that stuff. But I want to make sure that people coming in their home have every tool to have looked at the property before. So when they call their agent to book the appointment and they call me directly, we've gone through, okay, so you've walked through the property in the 3D tour. So it's basically, I'm going to give them every tool possible so that they know what they're walking into and they're just confirming it. So they're very highly qualified. They're just confirming what they've seen now. And, you know, I can't not do it responsibly in the environment we're in right
now. You have to do it. So you're just providing further, it's convenience and value and ease to your clients, right? And I read, there's a stat, I got to find it in this window.
Right. And at the end of the day, it costs me more money. But to me, I don't think you can do business right now without.
Well, and how does it really, the question is, does it really cost you money? Like, what's the ROI on you being so proactive? Maybe you're selling the house faster, the reputation.
I mean, in a
right?
dollar figure.
But you're like, for, again, it's an extra $300, maybe whatever, 200, 300, 500. It's like,
but you know, what are your clients
doing
right? After the fact? I think that's the bigger thing is your home sellers, your clients are, they feel reassured that, you know, you're helping them through this process. You're the professional that's walking them through how to market and navigate these unseen waters right now.
Yeah.
Right?
It's like a great segue into my next question. And then I want to have you answer, and then Mike's going to kind of show your answer, I think. But I read this, I got this stat, and it says, did you know, and this is great that you said that, because I wasn't thinking about this for today's application, but it's right here. Did you know it costs you 5 times more to acquire new customers than it does to retain current customers? And did you know existing customers are 50% more likely to try a new product of yours, as well as spend 31% more with new customers? So I'm thinking your client retention is up, your referral rate is up, and I'm sorry, but for all of those agents out there who don't want to spend the extra cash, I'm going to go and say that in the grand scheme of things, especially in the market, I mean, let's just take the whole GTA where a townhouse in some places is $1 million. Maybe the homeowner will just front the cash because they don't want anybody in their house. So it goes back to what I said earlier. I don't care who you use, what provider. The point is, and Nurse made the point as well. I feel strongly, and I think so do my sort of, you know, colleagues today, that in today's society, we're not saying you can't go into the house or you shouldn't. We're saying that you should mitigate the risk and the liability. And Nurse is just saying, Titan winner, that I got at least 6 more times, Nurse, that's going to come out today. Oh, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. I told your boy Teleska I'd say that a few times today too. But anyway, just food for thought. So I think based on that answer, that's kind of what I heard, Nurse. Like the value that it's giving your clients is just taking your service level in their eyes to the next level. Fair?
And okay. Honestly, if it's on the buying side, because I still deal with a lot of buyers, 60% listings, 40% buyers, because a lot of the sellers are buyers. But if I had that tool available on the other side, then we would have reviewed it together so that it saves my time, because everyone knows realtors work morning, noon, night, afternoons, and we're away from our families. So if we can save time on the other side because the agents provided these tools, I think as an industry, we'll all have a better family life as well.
Time is money. Time is everything, right? And it's the most valuable commodity on the planet.
And you look at what has happened in the industry overall from a higher level, you've got Realtor.ca in Canada, and you've got in the US likes of Zillow and whatnot, who have done a tremendous job of really giving a lot of good macro information about a neighborhood. So better consumer experience in terms of understanding, you know, what's the walk score, what's the school like in that neighborhood, breaking it down and really being able to understand. But once a consumer or a home buyer understands what neighborhoods they want to move into, they're not no longer looking at that information. They're zeroing in on what's the home details, and that's where, you know, we've gotten feedback over the years, and get this feedback from industry leaders as well, is that it's just kind of a mixed bag in terms of the information that's out there, and they can't make a decision online. Like they're not able to really they don't have the tools to actually make the decision. So they're forced to kind of go to the home and look at it, or, you know, really understand it. And if they're poor photos, they're not really enticed to go see the home. And these are the challenges that I think when you have not a standardized kind of, you know, marketing tools across the board, but it also allows certainly to stand out.
It's like these guys were, Mike, you know, the industry, just like lawyers and doctors in the CRA, they're using fax machines still. Like, I mean, it's mind blowing that the government is that behind. So, I mean, you can't, you know, and you look at some of the oldest professions out there, and well, what's happened? Every week with this bloody word, the digitization of those industries is like, you're getting 10 years at once. And now you still got to catch up to everybody else, because again, when I walk into a lawyer's office, I have lots of friends that are lawyers, and I see like 6 rows of fax machines. You're just like, right? Anyway, next question, because this is a really important one, and then I'm going to have Mike's going to kind of segue in and show us, I think, when you're listening. But now that you're a convert, now that we've converted you, you've come to the dark side. Sorry, that's the force. It's the good side. What do you like the most about overall with the whole like service you get from the iGUIDE? The tool itself, the platform, the content. Like, what's your favorite part about the whole experience?
So when I get the email now, I've got everything there. I've got my branded links, my unbranded links. So I guess you call it the host. I've got my
the iGUIDE report. Yes.
Yeah. So I've got my video links. I've got my iGUIDE virtual tour report. The iGUIDE host holds my photos, videos, and the 3D floor plan, 3D tour and floor plan. It hosts everything in one shot. So when I get the email, it's very easy. I forward that to my office. They upload. I forward it to Sonia, my operations manager. And what people don't realize is the floor plans. So in, you know, either it was the agents, or if they don't have somebody who works with them, like I have Sonia, we got to take measurements of the rooms. Now I don't got to do that. And obviously we use tape measures, and they're feet, and, you know, they're somewhat accurate.
That's awesome.
But, right. But then there's a thing in MLS, they need to be converted to meters. So then we got to take every single one. I got to go into Google, convert it to meters, whatever. You click on a button on the floor plan, and it's meters or feet. So now I don't have to waste my time. Well, Sonia doesn't have to waste her time changing it. But while, you know, over the last little while I was by myself, you know, I would have to go through, convert each one. Now I just flip on the next thing, done 2 seconds. They have the measurements, and I know they're accurate. And if they want to take me to court because they think one of those is off, then we're all going to court, because I know you guys have iGUIDE is 99.99% accurate. So you can't argue with it. Can you argue with my tape measure? Absolutely. Can you argue with my conversion? Absolutely. But that alone saves us a ton of time, where we don't have to, you know,
going back.
Yeah, like, and I'll tell you, I'm sure if you ask Sonia, she jeeves on these, on measuring the floors and stuff like that.
Who wants to do that?
No, and it's not a good use of time, right? So, and getting time back
that
we need, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a huge, like, I'm a marketer before anything, right? Like, I'm obsessed with this brand launch and new biz dev, and like, it's what I live for. I don't sleep some nights when I'm racking about ideas, but time, you keep talking about time. So I think as cool as the 3D tour is and everything else, the more I get into these webinars, the more I think about, you know, and I hear I'm selling, okay, I'm marketing myself, I'm marketing the brand, I get it. But when I really like step outside the box and really think about it for a second, it's arbitrage almost. We could use this tool because of the amount of time that it saves. So I get frustrated, and I apologize if anybody thinks I'm an asshole sometimes. I get frustrated when people just don't get it, but I'm learning that there's no need to be defensive, because it's not my problem. If you don't get it, you know, you're losing. It's just like in general, like I said, if you need to embrace change to get better. And I think that's fundamentally something we all have to, you know, get. So not to preach, but you know, it wasn't easy to convert this guy, but now he's, you know, sitting here saying this. So Mike, can you give a quick tutorial and show one of nurses listening, can you show an iGUIDE report and then show his stuff on MLS where what he's talking about when he says the host is what he's calling like how your hosting platform. So when he just clicks the link in, boom, MLS, and everything's just right there. He loves that. That's probably, I think that's what you said is your favorite thing, eh, Nurse? Like you just clicking a button and it's done.
Yeah, so you go through this and I get this email. My branded links are there. My unbranded links are there. So these are all for like social media, you know, my photos, my iGUIDE photos and all that stuff are right there. Floor plans are there. Like everything is there. So it makes my life a whole lot easier where I have one thing where I'm not getting like a video email, photography email, you know, everything is right there. And then this, you know, when you put that link into the virtual tour section in the MLS, it works with realtor.ca where the floor plan gets embedded. So,
I'm going to get Mike, I'm going to mute me in Nurse. Mike, can you talk to that? And can you also show an analytic report?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you touched on the key points. The branded link for your social media, you could actually click on these buttons up here and send it straight to your social media right away. Or, I mean, you can do different things. You have the unbranded link. Within the actual iframe of the iGUIDE, you know, Hershey, you mentioned your video, and you can include that video in there as well. So this unbranded link, when you take that unbranded link and you put it into the MLS, and we'll pop to one of your listings here, 7 Moore Park Drive in Schaumburg, the iGUIDE automatically will pull up into realtor.ca listing page here. And then also below that, you'll get a floor plan button that will automatically pull in. So CREA recognizes these webhooks, and they grab our floor plans and they pull those in, and those have all the measurement data, room measurements, area calculation.
So Michael, there's a question in the Q&A from Marcello. I'm not going to try and pronounce the last name, Quello. Are measurements of the rooms included in the iGUIDE? So if you look right there, yeah, they are. And then if you scroll up, Michael, you see room by room, they're all there. So this makes my life a whole lot easier for when I try to, like this is feet, but if you scroll down to the part where you can convert meters to feet, then, you know, it's all there for you. So if you're uploading your listing, it's done.
So in the actual, and I'll show you that example. Let me, before I jump into this example, let me just show you on that demo one here. If you click on it in the details, you can click on this button here and it changes everything to feet. So actually when I click on the floor plans, if you have it set up that way, when you open up the floor plans, you'll see that everything is in meters, in metric now. It's not imperial any longer. So just depending on however you set it up, you could set it up on the front end so that when that report comes through, it's either metric or meters. The nice thing about leaving the iGUIDE report on the realtor.ca in imperial is that when a lot of people still look at it in feet, but then in realtor.ca, when it's all listed there, it's all in meters. So they've got best of both worlds as well. From a marketing standpoint, what's nice, because you do these great videos, it really shines out your personality and, you know, building your brand. And so it really complements well. And what I like what you do is right here on that main listing page, right beside your branding, when you have that iGUIDE and you click on it, it opens with, and I'll turn off the sound here, it opens up with a video, which is great. And I mean, you've got both the videos that have your branding in it, and then the ones you can put your unbranded video in the actual iGUIDE that will populate realtor.ca. And so you've got the best of both worlds. You don't have to pick and choose, do I put my video on realtor.ca or do I put my iGUIDE or the 3D tour on there? It has everything combined. And now you've got a full marketing package or full marketing suite on there that can walk through. And then once that video is done playing, what's nice with it is it automatically pops into it should automatically pop into that 3D tour. I clicked on it, so I stopped that from happening, but you could have it flip as soon as that video is done playing, go right into the 3D tour, and now people can go and investigate and check out, you know, whatever rooms they find is key and important to them that they want to look at. They want to have more of an immersive experience. They can minimize those floor plans and kind of engage and walk around. And then John, you mentioned the analytics on the back end. I mean, Hirsch, you mentioned you worked every day this week, which I grew up with too. My dad was an agent still is for 50 years in Calgary. And my mom was a realtor growing up, and they worked evenings, weekends, all the time. And, you know, this is where your clients don't see how hard you work. You know, they do through your great posting on social media and stuff. But, you know, another way to demonstrate value to your clients is, you know, once you get a lot of people into that tour, is walking them through the analytics or sending this to them to show them all the marketing activities you've done and how many people have gone through their home. Have you had a chance to like engage with your home sellers in terms of people virtually walking through their home and talking about how after the sale or after the fact? I know that you're relatively new to doing this, so.
No, not necessarily after the fact. I think, you know, they get a whole complete package when they hire me. And I think realistically, like, we get them on and off the market as quick as possible. And that's what they're actually looking for. The least number of people in their house, but with maximizing their sale price. Like that house, I mean, I had 17 people in 3 days. We shut it down. We got 5 offers. We sold, we firmed last night, 150,000 over asking.
Beautiful. Awesome. Titan, here we go again. So Hirsch, I mean Nursh. Mike, you keep calling him Hirsch, it's Nursh, but I think it's awesome.
Oh, now it's my bad.
Oh, sorry, it's hilarious. I was great. And Nursh is answering questions in the Q&A. Lucas, if I ever can't do a webinar, Nursh is my replacement, okay? I'm like getting ready to answer questions, and he's like, oh, there's a question in the Q&A. And I was like, this is awesome. I got up and left the room. It was great. Yeah, no, that's amazing. And the thing that, you know, showing through the analytics, like you were just saying, and I only stopped the screen share so we could, because when you're screen sharing, people can't see us talk. So the analytic report, like you're just saying, the Nurse, where you show it every day, shows you where all the traffic's coming from and whatnot. And you also showed what Nurse was saying earlier, where he just puts that unbranded link into the MLS link, and we have no issues with the way our videos are set up. We take care of all of that. So you've got your branded stuff for your marketing side and all your and it's literally like the cat's ass. It's just cut and paste, right? So there was a question. I have a couple questions for the both of you guys. First of all, there was a question from Philomena, and we get asked this question all the time, and I can answer it quickly because unfortunately the answer is no. And it's the question with respect to, can the iGUIDE be shared in Instagram? So the iGUIDE tech is designed, things like Google, LinkedIn, Facebook, traditional web-based platforms, which still mobile-based now around the world, but just fundamentally speaking, they thrive off of this kind of technology, 360, 3D, anything. So their algorithms eat this kind of shit up, and your organic SEO will just, you know, be lifted just based on that. Instagram is very much the opposite. Like Nurse said, on the video side, it's quick. So Instagram is supposed to give you that very quick sort of information. If you want more, you're generally leaving Instagram to go somewhere. What you can do is a screen capture, and we've actually, Lucas and I have had a chat, and we've got a YouTube education channel that we're building with a lot of great content that Michael's team has provided and that our team has put together. One of the videos will be just to show you how to do a sort of a screen capture, because that's the way to showcase the iGUIDE on Instagram. Marcelo says he'll definitely be using iGUIDE. Marcelo, we love you, bro. Okay, I had another question for you. For Nurse, you guys answered 2 of my questions in your chat, which is great. Nurse definitely told us how the technology has changed. And you did, my other question was, how do you like to showcase? So have you used 2 questions kind of in one? And then I think Michael, I want to ask the 2 of you guys, you know, what else and what's next. But have you used the product through Broker Bay integration for virtual tours yet, Nurse? And have you, well, that's my first question. Have you used the tool through Broker Bay, or have you used our virtual tour link yet?
I didn't know it has an integration through Broker Bay.
So this is good, because it's very new.
Yeah, like, and we switched over to Broker Bay, I think, right like 2 weeks before COVID shutdown happened. So we had switched over, which was, it's a great back-end office for real estate brokerages. But I didn't know that there is an integration there. So that's something we can always.
Okay. Well, awesome. I'm going to send you last week's link because you weren't watching, I guess. So now you'll know.
I was busy selling.
You were too busy winning Titan Awards. You got to eat. You just work. Okay. So that's a sidebar. A sidebar. I'm going to have to make a note that I'm going to have to sell you that feature now too. Jeez. And my other question is, what's your take on virtual staging and staging? How do you feel about virtual staging, and is it something that you would embrace?
Being 100% honest,
Please, your honest opinion.
I don't embrace virtual staging. I embrace touching and feeling, because okay, so we give them all the tools to come to look at the stuff before and qualify what they're having. The 3D tours, the walk through, the floor plans, the videos, we give them all of that before they walk through the house. If those photos have a staged, like virtually staged rooms, when they walk in, like those photos are made to obviously fit the room. But when somebody walks in and they're picturing themselves there, they want to sit on that couch. They want to see the couch fit against a wall. And there's I believe staging touches the heart. And most purchases are not financial purchases unless they're investors. They are emotional purchases.
Agreed.
But when somebody walks in the house and they saw something online and then they can't see it to confirm it, to say, yeah, that is a big couch. That is a, you know, that is a big coffee table, or that is a, you know, a nice size island, or something like that. You know, like, look, yeah, whatever we staged on the wine bottles, that kind of stuff. If you can't touch and feel it, you're not going to get the emotions out of somebody. The pictures, like my stager, Sandra, Fat Places Need Spaces, I'm going to, you know.
Hey, absolutely. You're allowed to do that. And Sandra, I got lots of time for Sandra, so that's awesome.
Yeah, like she's the best. And at the end of the day, like what she puts in product, it touches people's hearts. And my homeowners, 9 out of 10 will say, after Sandra staged, I didn't want to move. And
yeah, because so it's like she made
it so nice. And because it's a whole process, there's decluttering, there's everything, but then Sandra gives it that part where it touches the heart. It gives it design, but touches the heart at the same time. And you can't do that when you walk into an empty room after it's been virtually staged. You don't touch the heart unless it's there. And you know,
so that's the emotional thing, and I agree. Like,
it's the emotional thing.
Yeah.
Most
we're not in the staging.
They ask Sandra to come do their new house, or they ask to buy her stuff. She can tell you 100 times how many times my clients have asked to buy her staging stuff, or other agents have put her staging stuff into our deal as a chattel or a fixture that they want. And I'm like, that's staging stuff. You can't have it.
Okay, so this, I guess I interpret the answer 2 ways. One way, he doesn't use virtual staging, if you didn't get that. Right. But staging in general.
100%.
Yeah. So I think the question becomes, it goes back to the value prop. And again, I won't turn this into a rah session, but the one thing I get asked a lot about when we pick up, you know, new agents and we do consulting and coaching, and we're helping Marcelo right now with his branding, and the guy's kicking ass already. We weren't even done his photo shoots and he already had a couple listings lined up. But I'm saying to him, like, set yourself apart. Don't make it about, you know, there's 50,000 agents fighting for that 2.5% or whatever it is, right? Yeah. So what I'm saying is set yourself apart. So the one consistent thing here, Nersh, and even though on most of it now, especially since you use iGUIDE, we agree on everything. The point is, if I practice what I preach and I step outside the box and say, it doesn't matter who or what, it's just that it's being done. You're a great, for a guy like me and Mike, you're a great example of what we want to see in the industry. Yeah, because we all want to eat, you know, and have a nice life, but more so, the industry's had its challenges over time, and I think you guys have an opportunity where technology and something like COVID at the same time have an opportunity to really sort of make it okay. It's one of those generational things where it's like you can't change, you know, it's like being a hard school WAP, you know, you can't change the way, you know, yes you can. It's not time to judge, it's time to action, right? So Mike, this was great. I mean, you got some great feedback from Nersh. I'm wondering, Nersh, I have a question for you, and then maybe, you know, for you and Mike to have a conversation about this, but is there anything else that you would love to see that the technology could do, or is there anything that we can, so now I want to hammer Mike a little bit. So is there anything that we can get these guys to, that's what we got to do, Mike, got to keep you on your toes. What else can they give me to give guys like you so that you can keep winning Titan Awards?
You know, I don't know. I think as more integration, I guess, into social media, because I guess that is a question. An agent called me yesterday, actually, that used your iGUIDE, and they asked me, how do we get it into like Instagram or somewhere else where it could be interactive, or Facebook where it could be interactive? I don't know if that's an option, or like you can post all the stuff right to Facebook and stuff from the iGUIDE, but is there a way to make it interactive? Because most people are looking at things on their phone. So is there a way to, they click on my post
and they can share it? Mike's going to show you.
And they're hitting, and now they're walking through the floor plan. You know, I don't know. Like, I think that's the only other thing that would, I guess, be.
So we have both of those things. Mike can go through. If we saw Mike, we got about 5 minutes before we got to kind of cut out. I know Nurse has a call, and I'm pretty stickler with 11:50. But yeah. Nurse, the virtual tour showing, seriously, me and you have to have a conversation. All not going to bust your chops. We just launched it a couple weeks ago, and I think you were away when we posted it. It's the coolest thing ever, and you can literally virtually have thousands of people. Mike showcased it last week. But with respect to the tools and the ability to share, the tech works phenomenal with every major platform except for Instagram. So Mike, real quickly, if you can just go through the listing and show the share button. Yeah. And maybe just give further explanation to any further integration while you're doing that, that'd be awesome. The floor is yours.
Yeah, a great question, Nursh. If it's, I'm going to share my screen again. I mean, it just shows some different examples. I think on, you know, you do some phenomenal, again, as we talked about the video work, and this is that same home, great video. And in this one, it's the, sorry, let me turn off the sound. The branding, but you know, you're in there and you're introducing it. But what are other ways that you could share on there? So you could take the 360 photospheres of maybe some of the key shots, like the kitchen or the nice living room or whatever it is, and post that first, like before, like just getting the listing out there and saying, got a new home here. And then, you know, throw up your video and get more people engaged on it that way. You can do screen captures just quickly on your phone or on your computer, and you can post those like 30-second screen captures from an iGUIDE quickly onto a something like, and here's this like a quick screen capture here that I could just quickly post that on. I literally made this in 10 seconds from my phone, and I could post that on Instagram and say, hey, brand new house coming to the market. And again, it's trying to drive people back to where you want to capture them as leads. So do you want to capture them as a lead on your website, or where do you want to drive them to so that they reach out to you to see the most? We even have some agents who do redacted tours just initially as they're launching the tour to say, come see the full tour, reach out to me directly. And it just different ways to get engagement with your, with potential home buyers, I guess, in a sense. So there's multiple different ways of doing it. It's pretty flexible, and the way that it's set up right now is that in terms of how you want to drive traffic. So ideally you would want to have that iGUIDE embedded on your website, so you have it on your website. So when you drive traffic back there, people are engaging and staying on your website, and then they're looking at some of the other listings that you have, and then, or reaching out directly to you. So but those are things that we're always looking to do, to see how can we better integrate with the tools that really allow you to share it with more people and get more views. And then that bolsters, again, things like your analytics, that at the end of the day, I know you can't have all these people go through home and you're already showing results with that end of the price, but it's also, you know, down the road in your listing presentations, you can show, this is what I did on my last listing, how I marketed the property, and then these were the results. Curious to see, you know, hear from you, because time is so much, it was so important to you. And in your listing presentations, I know you said, you mentioned briefly, you're using this as a tool in your listing presentations, and what have the results been, or what's the feedback from some of your clients?
Well, I mean, 100% I'm using this as a tool, because then I say, listen, I've got every end covered from a media point of view, from floor plans to 3D tours to videos to photos to floor measurements, so that, you know, they're walking into your property safely during COVID. And I spend the extra money to make sure that your house is maximized, got the maximized digital exposure, and that they're just coming to verify what they saw, because most homeowners want to touch and feel. So like the feedback, everyone loves the product we put out there since I started using it. So that was the beginning of COVID, like April 3rd, I think I put out one of my listings. We sold it in 3 days, but I had everything there for them. So it was right at the beginning. 3 showings, but people came in, they were highly qualified. So 3 came in, we got an offer for 1, so for the highest price for that product out in Ajax. So and my clients needed to sell, so it worked out perfectly for everybody. And but yeah, the feedback is good, and they're happy that I'm not just doing $100 virtual slideshow tour of photos. Obviously what I spend on media and photography and stuff, I guess that's why John loves me, is...
That's not why I love you. That's why you won the Titan Award. Let's just be clear.
So at the end of the day, like I spend quite a bit, but it's so that my clients are first. So their safety and thing is first, because iGUIDE, I mean, like as John said before, I wasn't the biggest fan of it because I'm like, no, I want them to watch my videos, but it's not about me, it's about them, and it's about the people watching.
Now you use the tool. The video is the marketing tool, and the iGUIDE is now. You just said for 45 minutes, all you just did was solidify, in my opinion, anyway, or my point of view, how much of a closing tool the iGUIDE actually is, especially today.
Yeah, with COVID, I just think that it's a standard that should be the standard of virtual tours these days. And
Plantar should do an agent feature on this guy.
The funny thing about that is I've got commercial leases and stuff that I do for some of my small business clients. And, we looked at old MLSs for square footage and went into measure, and one of them said 550 square feet. It was actually 680 when you guys measured.
Yeah.
So now that's worth more.
So you heard that, right? Nurse is now using iGUIDE for commercials and properties and leases as well.
And if you ever looked at a commercial...
Still one-stop shop, right? That's the other thing.
Yeah, and if you ever look at a commercial listing that's marketed for lease or sale,
horrible.
You got a picture of the outside of the building.
It's horrible.
And it's horrible. And so now I'm providing the solutions I'm providing my residential clients, I'm providing on the commercial side. And in that case, we just figured out how much more square footage we got in that place and how much more we can charge that they might have been giving
100%. And even in that case, because then I'll hear agents say, oh, but I get, so the land just included in the landlord for $275 for 2,500 square feet or something, which is most small bricks and mortar, especially today. If the landlord isn't even willing to make that investment, then I'm just saying maybe you need to find a new client. But again, I'm not going to tell you how to run your business. That's
like a lot of people, even so I do it for my leases. I do it for everything now.
Well, no, we're not talking about client retention. That's why it's a no-brainer.
No, but what I'm just saying
I'm just saying in general.
Yeah, you want to build and put a product, you kind of got to be consistent.
1,000%.
And at the end of the day, if you're consistent 99% of the time, people will see that. So now whatever product I put out, commercial, lease, whatever.
Same.
At the end of the day, like John and I had this discussion. We don't make money on leases. We do it for the relationship, the bigger relationship.
When you don't chase the money comes a lot easier.
Right. And at the end of the day, if I'm going to lose a little bit on this because I need to do this because it's the right thing to do for the client, that's what I'm going to do. But I know I'm going to make it on the back end.
Right. Yeah. And it's like you use the word lose, but like, are you really? If it's an extra $100 and the next time the guy has it,
yeah, it's about margins, right?
I agree with you.
A lot of agents are looking at
people don't get it. You're right.
You're looking at their margins, and some things you're going to win, some things you're not going to.
It costs money to make money. Bottom line, I think I learned that in grade 9 economics. Like, and I didn't listen to anybody.
But the product I put out, from my client's point of view, is solid, and I have a 70% referral rate. For my client base is 70% referrals. So at the end of the day, something is working, and it's obviously the package I put out is, whether it's commercial, residential, it's all the same.
Right.
Awesome.
When you can give somebody a consistent package every time, then you can get covered. So people are like, oh, so you do commercial. Yeah, and here, I use floor plans, we do this, we maximize.
Consistency, branding. That's awesome. So
I think somebody has a question, eh?
Oh, I'll look at it, and then I was going to just ask Mike a question. Oh, amazing webinar, guys, going off. Nurse, Okay, so Marcelo, I'm going to make you an introduction to Nersh. Nersh is a good guy. Nersh, I'm going to ask you a favor. Can you spend 10 minutes of your time and have a call with my buddy Marcelo, please?
Yeah, absolutely. Just give me the
Mike,
contact.
I'll hook you guys up in an email intro. Mike, is there anything else you want to add? Like, I think you got some homework now. We gotta keep Nersh winning awards.
Absolutely.
And more people like Nersh using these tools, also winning awards. It's not
Not
just
about
raises
awards
the
for
game
me.
for everybody.
Sorry to interrupt,
Busting
but
your
it's
chops,
not
man.
about awards for me. It's about clients and giving
1000%,
them
bro.
the best possible product. So it's not about me winning awards. If that happens, wonderful. But at the end of the day, it's about my clients.
That's why you're here, and that's why we're talking, and that's why, because I know you know that I feel the exact same way. Yesterday, somebody told me I was customer service on steroids. There's days that that's really hard to provide. If you've ever heard me preach, I talk about how my entire organization, like Amendola Media Group, Breakdown, Realtors, everything else in between, it's just the ultimate customer service experience. The money comes when you don't chase it. So you guys are the best. Thank you so much. Thank you for everybody that tuned in. Subscribe, like, all that kind of jazz. Nersh, keep killing it. Michael,
Nersh, thank you very much. Nice to meet you.
Nice
And
to meet
John,
you.
thank you very much for having me today.
And guys, Michael and I are back in 2 weeks. Everything's posted. You know where to find us, all that jazz. Lucas will send an email out. And I hope everybody has a fantastic weekend. Go enjoy this crazy weather. And we'll see you all out there.
Sounds good. Bye, everyone.
Cheers, guys. Have a great weekend.